could be for both, but let me shoot it to Coleman. What do you think about I feel like the concerns a lot of people have about critical race theory are, instead of letting people voluntarily do a group identify themselves as a bridge, like Rakeem was so nicely saying, it seems like you see a lot of reports of people being forced to group identify and to lead with that identity and make that subsume individual traits and identities and attitudes. Do you think that is a significant problem today? And maybe you could associate it with CRT or not. And do you have a response to, is that problematic, and what could be done about it?
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, I would. I would separate it from CRT. CRT is the label that's now being, slapped on that, but that's been around for many years. I mean, I remember when I was in high school, I was sent off to a workshop where, essentially they were really trying to get everyone to identify much more with whichever victim identity they could plausibly have. And it was like, there are certain subcultural contexts, elite Ivy League schools, very progressive high schools, private high schools, and increasingly certain public schools. And this is one of those conversations where if it's not happening to you, you're going to think what are these people talking about? But you got to remember, America is a huge country. It's like 10 countries in one. And there are places in the country where there's still a lot of anti-Black racism as like a central problem. And there are other places in the country where people are sending their kids to school, and the schools are so steeped in the D'Angelo style of anti-racism that they're making, 7-year-old white kids view themselves as white as part of the curriculum, and making them feel kind of uncomfortable about their friendships with Black kids, as opposed to letting things happen sort of naturally. So I do worry about that. And I think it's definitely the wrong approach to raising the next generation as the kind of anti-racist we should want them to be.
My question is about critical race theory seeming to me to be having the ability to learn our actual history. I grew up in the South, and what we got was the ladies of the Confederacy's version of what American history was. And I think about critical race theory as being the first step being just the actual nation being able to learn our actual history. It seems like the issue that you're talking about with color, race blindness or color blindness is another issue. And I'm wondering if my analysis is too simple or not.
Thank you very much, Bonnie. Coleman, would you distinguish between these two items, color blindness and the value thereof versus our need to actually tell the full truth about our history?
Yes, I would. I think critical race theory is very different from a full accounting and analysis of American history. You could have a historian that knows more than anyone in the world about slavery and Jim Crow who didn't subscribe to critical race theory at all. They are truly distinct. The practice of learning and teaching history from critical race theory, which is a set of beliefs about the value structure of society itself, right? You could teach the most intensive class on why Juneteenth matters. You could be a historian who goes into the archives and discovers a slave plantation that no one even knew existed and had been lost to history, without believing any of the philosophical and epistemological claims that are a part of, what's called critical race theory. Now, how it's being used today, how that term is being used today, does have something to do with how history is taught, but really, these are two different topics.